G. Willow Wilson's Poison Ivy solo series has been going on for about 2 years now. I think it's actually like exactly 2 years. And it's been an interesting comic book. I know initially Drew was like, you got to read this. They're actually making Poison Ivy a villain again. I remember going, I don't think they're actually going to make her a villain. We'll see what happens there. And I've come in and tested the waters when it comes to Poison Ivy by G. Willow Wilson several times. Sometimes it's pretty decent. Sometimes it's not really to my taste. But this week we finally got to the final arc where we're actually going to kill Poison Ivy for reasons. Well, she needs to be a hero, so she has to die a hero's death so she can be reborn, even though she just died, I think, 4 years ago, and was reborn as a flower, or reborn out of a flower that was touched by Wally West after he murdered somebody, I believe. The Poison Ivy character is just kind of weird. Like, back in like the 60s when she was introduced, she was just a femme fatale that had gone on an expedition, and I believe they were robbing a tomb or something, and they were going to get caught. So the guy she was robbing it with made her eat some special herbs that she survived and ended up becoming Poison Ivy. Post-crisis, they decided to tie her into Alec Holland, Swamp Thing, to where she was an understudy to Alec Holland and Jason Woodrow, the Floronic Man. Jason Woodrow was her, I guess, mentor and was using his positional authority to maybe seduce her or whatever, and then injected her with some special antidote thing that basically turned her into Poison Ivy. So there's lots of different origins for the character. She was always really interested in men, definitely seducing them along the way. She seduced a lot of people, especially Batman a lot. But now she's basically straight up a lesbian because she has a relationship with Harley Quinn now. And you can't have a female lesbian villain in a relationship with Harley Quinn unless she becomes a hero as well, because they've been trying like hell to make Harley Quinn a hero. That has not worked. Actually, every time they try to make Harley Quinn more of a hero, she becomes less popular and her sales go down more and more. It's the weirdest thing that they've been doing with these characters, but that's what happened this week. We finally have the death of Poison Ivy. Pamela Isley in the Poison Ivy series that started out as a maxi series and became an ongoing. Villainous Poison Ivy has officially been killed off of DC canon, solidifying her transformation into a hero. Since her longtime girlfriend Harley Quinn became an anti-hero in DC continuity, fans have questioned if Poison Ivy would eventually follow her lead. Her solo series has shown hints of wavering between good and evil, but for the most part, she stayed on the side of villainy until now. I don't understand the infatuation with turning all these villains into heroes, like Magneto. Oh, he's an anti-hero now. Well, he's still a mass murderer. It kind of makes it difficult to portray that character that way. Well, Harley Quinn, she's an anti-hero now. I still remember her taking presents, putting bombs in them, and giving them out randomly to kids in Gotham and exploding them. Like, that shit happened. She literally targeted and murdered kids. And in the case of Poison Ivy, she took over Superman. Was that Hush? I think it was in Hush. I remember her killing some police officers. Now, they were corrupt, but she still murdered them for giggles or whatever. And I certainly remember Batman catching her, like, just feeding random men to giant plants. That's pretty much murder, right? Once you start feeding dudes to plants, you might be a murderer. I think she tried to kill Damian Wayne. Now, I understand Damian Wayne is Robin and he's a hero and everything, but he's still, like, 12. Like, at that point, she's not even just killing men. She's killing kids and stuff like that. And over the years, she's done a lot of dirty things. And I know they included in her past that she had been physically abused and emotionally abused by men and all that kind of stuff. And that's why she had to do it. But still, bad things can happen to you and you can take a negative route. And that does make you a villain. And it kind of cements you there. I don't understand how, in anyone's mind, Poison Ivy can be a hero, Magneto can be a hero, Harley Quinn can be a hero. There's just some things that you do, especially mass murder, that I just don't think you can come back from. But these writers these days, they just don't have that sense of morality. That, yes, you can wipe out a bunch of people and murder them, and you can feel bad about it, and you can help the heroes every now and again, you know, when it serves your own purpose. But that doesn't make you a hero. It just makes you, you know, a complicated person that did really bad things. That is essentially a villain, because you are a serial killer. All three of those characters are, but they always insist on trying to flip the morality on it. Once they included the fact that she had been abused by men, she had to be a hero someday. In Poison Ivy 22 by G. Willow Wilson, Ivy finds herself evenly matched against her former mentor and personal joker, Dr. Jason Woodrow. She quickly discovers that no matter what she does, he will always come back because he's able to control the wild strain of Lamia spores. It will be a never-ending battle that she can't win. However, she discovers there may be one option that involves the ultimate sacrifice. Ivy orders the zombified Lamia host to kill both her and Woodrue, putting an end to both of them once and for all. It's a shocking gesture that's showing Ivy is no longer conflicted about her morals. She's become a full-fledged hero. I don't know, man. I just don't see it. She's still the one that created the Lamia spores. She's the one that created the things that became the zombies that were potentially going to take over the entire world. It's not like she had good intentions with that stuff. It just so happens she met somebody who's perhaps even more evil than her and decided to sacrifice herself in order to also kill him. It's not exactly like the most heroic stuff. Now, it's certainly, self-sacrifice is a heroic gesture, but she was literally planning on destroying the entire world and has tried to destroy the entire world multiple times over. I mean, she's literally a terrorist. She is a eco-terrorist, and proudly so. And I do think that's like one of the weird things you see in modern comic books. I legitimately believe that Jerry Duggan and Jordan White and the idiots at Marvel Comics and the X-Men office thought that X-Men Green was a hero's journey, where the character discovers like plastic bags and goes back to the store where the plastic bag came from and murders the guy for like hurting the environment, and then goes out and murders a bunch of other people because they were logging or whatever and doing just what they had to do to earn a living. I think we are supposed to see that character as a hero because she was fighting for the right thing, climate change. We shouldn't be polluting. And I agree, polluting is bad. I think we should take care of the environment. Do I think that we should just go around murdering people because we don't like what they're doing despite it being completely legal? No. I don't think the anything goes mentality when it comes to like eco-terrorism is altruistic. I don't think it's something to look up to. I think it actually makes you a villain, which is basically what Poison Ivy has been for a very, very long time. But it is problematic because she's in a relationship with Harley Quinn, and we want Harley Quinn to be a hero, even though that makes no sense. What's interesting about this heroic gesture by Ivy is that it gives her character development a fitting conclusion for now. When her solo series first began in 2022, Ivy was actually the one intent on bringing an end to humanity and unleashing a Last of Us style apocalypse after she slowly realized she was dying. She eventually canceled the plan after coming across various people she realized didn't deserve the painful death she had in store for humanity. This set her on a fascinating path when she began to see the benefits of human life rather than just the negatives. And it's good to know that the character did finally kind of turn around, decide not to be a homicidal maniac, and take over the entire world and kill them via plants. That's a pretty good progress for the character. But I also remember Drew specifically saying, you need to read Poison Ivy because in this new series, she's a villain again. And I was like, man, are you sure? I just don't see that happening. There's no way they're going to let Poison Ivy maintain her villainous status. Now, did I think that she was going to end up creating a zombified spore and use that to kill the Floronic Man? Not particularly. Didn't exactly seem like the exact through line of a story, but obviously that's where they ended up getting in the end. And I think they should just accept that you can have female villains, and those female villains can have tragic pasts. That doesn't make them a hero. It's actually the actions of the character that define you as heroic. Certainly, sacrificing yourself to help kill the Floronic Man has a touch of heroism to it. But certainly, feeding random dudes to giant plants makes you a villain because at that point, you're a murderer. Trying to kill a little kid makes you a villain because you're trying to be a murderer. Stalking Batman because he saved you once and then you wanted to make out with him kind of makes you a villain. There's so many crazy things in this character's past that really preclude her from ever being a hero. And like I said, Harleen Quinn's the same way. It's like, this lady, I understand she was used by the Joker and she was corrupted by the Joker and he didn't treat her well and he turned her into what she became, but she still did it. Like, are you kidding me? She literally has murdered children at this point. Like, there's some things you just can't come back from. Knowing comic logic, nobody truly stays dead. The same can absolutely be said for Poison Ivy as she allows the Lamia-infected host to devour both her and Woodrue. However, this doesn't make her sacrifice hollow either. Ivy will likely be reincarnated as a brand new hero who toes the line between good and evil, similar to Harley Quinn. She certainly won't be joining the Justice League anytime soon, but she's absolutely shaping up to be DC's next greatest anti-hero. Ivy's sacrifice is likely to go down as one of the most important moments in the character's long history. Well, you can certainly take it to the bank that this character is not going to remain dead. Nobody remains dead in comic books anymore. It doesn't matter if you're important or you're not important. You're always going to come back. And like I said, I think they just killed her like 4 years ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago. But I remember her being reborn like in a field when Wally West touched a plant and gave it some electricity and she bloomed out of it. And Harley Quinn was like super duper excited because her girlfriend was back or whatever. But they've already done this before. She will be regrown as a plant or whatever. All the things that she did as Pamela Isley will be forgotten, and everyone will be like, man, I'm really digging this new Poison Ivy hero. I wonder if she has anything to do with that lady that was a fucking serial killer. You remember that lady that tried to kill the little kid that's on our superhero team? You remember that lady that took over Superman and tried to destroy the world? Oh yeah, that lady. Can't be related whatsoever. This Poison Ivy's a hero. And it just gets ridiculous. But she will be reborn, likely as, I don't know, a sunflower, dandelion, something like that. And I imagine it won't take very long because this Poison Ivy series is ongoing. This wasn't the end of it. I don't know. They sent Wonder Woman to Valhalla, and she had to come back from there when she died. Where would you send Poison Ivy? Like, is there a green like heaven or a green hell that she would go to, and maybe she could find Alec Holland, who died, I guess, as the Swamp Thing, and now we've got that other version of Swamp Thing. Maybe they can go through something together. We just saw Magneto get resurrected by Storm with the power of love, apparently. Magneto just needed to forgive himself, and then when he forgave himself, he was allowed to come back. Oh, man, they come up with some of the dumbest ways of bringing these heroes and villains back to life within the comic book universe, but it's just one of those things that's ingrained in the culture and the storytelling and all that kind of stuff. But this will likely be just as lame as all that stuff. If you're enjoying the G. Willow Wilson series and you thought this was a great moment, we're finally getting the heroic Pamela Isley Poison Ivy, then I'm glad you got what you wanted. If you're like me and you think we don't have enough good villains anymore because they decided to turn them all into heroes, you're probably scratching your head going, why are we doing this shit again? It literally did not work out well for Harley Quinn. She's less popular now than she was when she was a full-fledged fucking villain. Keep shining and keep shining. This shit ain't going to work. Poison Ivy has literally been a villain for like 60 years. So, I don't know. I think you just kind of got to accept some things and create new characters, new heroes. I think we have enough heroes. We need more villains. That's what we really need. And we lost a freaking Floronic Man. He was a great villain. Really disgusting villain, too, man. Alan Moore really knew what he was fucking doing when he made Jason Woodrow into the big, enormous piece of crap that he is. But if you would like more coverage of comic books and you would like to support the channel, I do want to say, go check out Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. We've got all the reviews you could ever want. We've got all the conversations you could ever want. You can ask Doc all the questions that you want answered, all on Think Critical Patreon. You support us, and we give you lots of great stuff in return. That's the guarantee.